Fridays at the stick. From who's got it better than us to brick by brick. It's always the 49ers way, from off-season to game day. Yeah, we talk back. It's the 49ers Cutback.
It's 49ers Cutback Podcast time, and I am excited for this because it's full interaction mode with everyone that's watching. You've got questions. We're ready to get into it. We're ready to have a conversation with you. And this is what I love most about the live streams is when we get to get interaction with 49ers Cutback crew, with the faithful. It's exciting.
It's the best part, man. It's the best part of this, being able to interact with you, being able to do stuff with all of y'all. That's why we moved our preview shows up a little bit. We wanted those up, being able to focus on the game, and then be able to hop in with you guys at around the same time that we were doing the live streams anyway with the preview shows, and just talk with you about it. I mean, it just went out. It just went live. You all got to see it. You all now have questions, probably. You all have things you want to talk about, things you want to ask.
Right.
And that's fine. That's what this time is for, is to dive into that and go a little bit deeper, go a little bit in depth, and answer any questions that you have about the game, anything going on with the team. Not too much about like stuff we're going to cover tomorrow on the daily, but just other things, other questions that you may have that arose from this preview show that we just put out for the 49ers versus Seattle Seahawks. And the best part of it is, Thursdays are like this build-up day on this channel. It's like a build-up to what is to come at you Friday, which is a feast of 49ers content and 49ers Cutback content, specifically, obviously, because it's the 49ers Cutback YouTube channel. But we got tons of stuff. We got tons of things going on tomorrow. You don't want to miss any of it. Madden Simulation starting at 9 a.m., daily video at 11 a.m., like it always is. What's good with our boy Jay in the Bay after that at 2 o'clock? He's got his 5 big things. He's going to take questions from the Cutback crew, so that's going to be a lot of fun as well. Man, and then, of course, you can't forget, 5:30 p.m. Pacific time, Know Your Opponent. That's going to be a lot of fun as well. And then if you're over on Patreon, you got game previews coming out here on Saturday. You got 49ers Cutback in Time coming out a little bit later tonight. Man, tons of stuff. Tons of things coming at your face.
There are tons of things. And we got a question already from Jay Ellie. He says, will Devontae Harris push to start over Dante Johnson, or push him to the practice squad, push Dante Johnson to the practice squad?
It could happen.
Yeah.
It really just depends on where he's at and where his development is.
Yeah, it all depends on what was actually going on in training camp. If Dante Johnson actually did lose that job, if Harris beat him out, or if it was a strategic move, because they knew no one would pick up Dante Johnson and they were willing to, kind of risk that because they knew they were going to eventually put Harris on the IR. I don't know exactly. I mean, we saw them both play in camp, and I thought both were playing very well in camp. Did both of them play inside and outside? They both have that flexibility.
I don't remember Harris moving inside too much.
Yeah, he played inside.
Did he play inside?
Yeah.
It was outside then I don't remember.
Yeah, he didn't play a whole lot outside. He was playing more inside, but I don't know. I mean, I don't know. That's a good question. That's going to be something fun to watch and listen to. I'm curious if they actually value him over Dante Johnson.
Yeah, that's a big thing. It was the issues Dante Johnson's health early on, and that's why they made the move, right? Is if we let go of Devontae Harris, even if he's not healthy, someone's going to take a chance on him, whereas DJ, no one's really seen anything from him because he didn't play him in a preseason game. He was really only practicing, right? And I don't even think he practiced fully in the joint sessions, if I remember correctly.
He wasn't there yet.
So, yeah, no one's seen DJ. It may have just been a literal strategic move. Or maybe we're wrong, and Devontae Harris is an absolute stud, and we just haven't seen it yet. That could be the case. I mean, it's a great question, JLE, and it's something to keep an eye on as we get closer to Friday, as we get closer to Saturday, what moves they're going to make, who's going to actually be activated, who's going to be not suiting. Because, again, you think they're not going to roll with every single one of these corners and suit every single one of these guys up come game day.
Well, we know Ambry Thomas won't.
That's for sure.
But everybody else, they could, because they're going to have room. K'Wan Williams won't be there. So, I mean, if you just take out K'Wan Williams and you insert Harris, you have the same amount of DBs that you had last week. And you don't know what's going to happen with Josh Norman either. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see who dresses and who is going to be active, for the game. Who's going to be those 48 guys. I'm curious to see who it is. But right now we know they have the roster space. They have room to bring Maurice Hurst and Harris in and not really have to worry about releasing or moving anyone. And they still have, the trump card in their back pocket that they can put K'Wan Williams on the IR. And if they do, then they create another roster spot. So the 49ers haven't been, worried about going less than 53 men. They've been doing it pretty much consistently since after week 1. So, I mean, I don't think it really worries them. And I think the whole time they knew guys were going to be coming back. And there's going to be more guys coming back in the future. So this roster is going to be in a state of flux every single week. I don't think there's any time that we're going to know 100% who these 53 guys are going to be.
No, it's going to be really hard. And David, even if you missed the preview show, if you missed any of it, ask the questions. Like it doesn't matter. Even if we've covered it a little bit, maybe we won't go as in depth. We'll just point you to wherever we need to point you in the preview show itself. But ask him anything that you want to talk about.
100%.
This is y'all's time. It's not our time. It's y'all's time. Whatever you guys want to discuss, even if we've beaten it with a dead horse, not a dead horse, a dead horse. Then that's the thing. That's what it needs to be. So ask whatever questions you want to ask.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, put it all out there. We'll get into it. We'll have some nice conversations about it. I think it'll be cool.
Absolutely. Megan, how you doing? Hope you're doing well, sweetie. Hope work's good. Step up TCC, hit that like button. Agreed with you there, Gary. But now, and there's still a lot of questions with this team and what can happen and what we got to do going forward, because 49ers fans don't feel comfortable. You and I feel pretty good about where the team's at right now. I know with DeMeco Ryans and the defensive play calling, after watching that All-22 film, I feel really good. I've been having a lot of interactions and been trying to be pretty involved in a lot of the Facebook groups because it's been heavy negative this week. So anytime you got people talking about how DeMeco Ryans is trash and needs to get out of here, the defense sucks, all this stuff, and DeMeco Ryans doesn't know what he's doing. Kyle doesn't know what he's doing. I've really tried to engage them. Okay, why do you feel that way? What's your reasoning behind it? What's going on there? And a lot of people, there's not a reasoning. It's an emotional feeling, right? It's a feeling that they have, and they don't want to dive into it any more than that. And they don't even want to have a discussion about it because they don't even want to, toy with the idea that maybe they're wrong or maybe there's something else going on. They just want to hear what other people have told them and immediately react to it. And some of the feedback I've been getting back, and some of it's been really positive as well, is people feeling like, well, Kyle Shanahan didn't have a good game plan coming into the game Sunday. And it's like, fair. He didn't. Jimmy said that in the presser that they hadn't seen this stuff. Kyle said it also. I was like, yeah, you're right, fair. I was all, but you can't forget the second half. You can't do it. You can't look at the first half and look at the 7 points and be like, well, Kyle Shanahan wasn't ready. And Kyle Shanahan doesn't know what he's doing. And Kyle Shanahan has an ego. Well, what changed then? Because if Kyle Shanahan had an ego, they would have scored 7 points in the second half as well, or no points in the second half, because LaFleur would have adjusted. Kyle would have just believed in his game plan and what he was doing was going to work no matter what, and would have made no adjustments. He adjusted. He just adjusted late.
I mean, doesn't that go to show how great he actually is?
That's the argument I was trying to make. Yeah, that actually disproves your point that he doesn't know what he's doing.
You go into a football game and they show you something you've never seen before, something you weren't ready for, something you weren't expecting. And then at some point, you figure it all out, and you put up 28 points in 32 minutes. That's impressive. I mean, that's the thing. You can't point to this offense and say they didn't do enough. The argument that you didn't do enough early, so it cost you the game, you can make that argument if you want. I just don't think it holds water, because anytime you score 28 points in a game, you should win. That's 100% accurate. You should win any football game you score 28 points in. And they weren't able to win. And it was defensive execution. It wasn't defensive play calling. It was execution by these players. They weren't able to execute. And some of that goes to the 49ers are playing some players that shouldn't be playing right now. And it's nothing against them. They're just young, and they're learning. They're trying to figure this thing out. And then you have other opportunities, where you get a Dante Johnson out there one-on-one with Devontae Adams, because that's the game plan. That's what you were planning to do with Josh Norman. And now that you have an injury, you can't do that with him. So it changes the way things are played and changes the game. But no, Kyle Shanahan did a very good job of figuring this thing out. They were unprepared for what was coming towards them. But I think that happens a lot to offensive play callers, because the defense is eventually going to figure you out. But it's like we said on the show earlier, is a lot of this had to do with Mike LaFleur. 100% Mike LaFleur helped Matt LaFleur put this game plan together. He knows the weaknesses and how Kyle Shanahan wants to attack. He has the inside information on it. And it's only good right now, right? There's an expiration date on it. He knew what they were planning on doing now because he's been in the building recently. Now that Kyle Shanahan knows that Matt LaFleur knew the information, they have nothing. They have nothing to build on. And a second time against each other will yield different results, because Kyle Shanahan will adjust what he already did. And now that script doesn't work. So it's a one-time only thing. As they used to do in Mission Impossible, this message will now expire, and it's expired. And the next time that they play Green Bay, the win will expire for Green Bay.
Correct. That's the idea. That's the hope, at least anyway, right? And I think the Niners can get that. That can happen. Definitely can happen. We have some great questions here. Some really, really good questions. So let's get to them. David Campbell, first and foremost. Okay, what is the latest on Harris, Hurst, and Hurd? Any other surprise injuries? Kittle is the only other surprise injury, and we talked about that in the daily this morning, as well as Hurd as well, and Hurst and what's going on there. Hurst and Harris are looking like they're going to be cleared and activated.
Their window's open.
The practice window is open. Hurd's practice window is not open, which means they're not ready to bring him back out there and have him start doing things. So it's kind of a wait-and-see approach with Jalen Hurd and where his knee's at. You were always thinking next week, Ant,
yes,
it may end up actually being closer to the bye if they feel like, hey, you know what, let's just shut this guy down for the first 6 weeks, get him healthy. Let's have him for week 7 on the rest of the season. Having him for 10 weeks for Kyle Shanahan is probably better than having him for 1 or 2 and then he goes down for the rest of the year.
Yeah, the reason I was always thinking Arizona is it made sense to be able to bring him back. And then after the game, he could have a week off, a bye week. You know, they're going to have extra days off that week. And then you can see how he responds, and then he'll be able to play against Indy. But if they feel that they need to wait all the way through the bye week, go ahead and wait. If you want to make sure you're still playing winning football. So you can win a lot of football games without Jalen Hurd. The good news is it is nice to have Maurice Hurst and Harris available because you have had secondary worries, and you've also had interior defensive line worries because Kevin Givens was the interior defensive lineman that was a rotational piece that could add pressure in the pass game, and he's been out because of the ankle. So you add Hurst in there, and Hurst can do that in a big way. That's something he excels at. Plus his lateral movement. You got a team like Seattle that wants to run an outside zone and wants to move. You got Russell Wilson and Kyler Murray coming up, and they like to move. Hurst can get after it, and he can make plays. So it's nice to have him back. And
a bunch of 10 and 11 personnel for the Seattle Seahawks. I've already kind of gone through some of the All-22 film already and really been trying to dive into it, look at what Seattle wants to do offensively. You're not going to see 2 tight ends. Get used to it, folks. There's no 2 tight ends.
Well, especially they have another tight end that's on the COVID list now.
It's true. They do. I forgot about that. So you're not going to see a lot of that. It's going to be a lot of 10 personnel. It's going to be a lot of 11 personnel. That they're going to run out there with wideouts. They're going to get Chris Carson in space. Travis Homer is the guy running right now opposite behind Chris Carson, not Rashad Penny, who's still dealing with a little bit of an issue there with his lower leg and lower extremity. So we'll see what happens. And then, David, we talked about Kittle as well earlier and what he's dealing with his calf. Right now, it's kind of just day-to-day. They're just seeing how he goes, and it's not something he hasn't dealt with before. Kyle talked about that, and we'll update you. Tomorrow's daily is going to have a little bit more in-depth look at the injuries for the 49ers and what's been going on. Megan asked which player will have the best game on offense and on defense for the 49ers.
Jimmy Garoppolo.
Offensively, I like that.
Well, I mean, I went, wow, that's bold that Jimmy Garoppolo is going to have himself a game. And I think that Jimmy Garoppolo is going to, I think he's going to show up because I think irritated Kyle is a real thing. And I think he's very frustrated with how he's being treated in the media and the perception of him and the perception of his starting quarterback. And he's going to go out there to prove a lesson. And I think that Seattle is probably going to try to muck it up. And Kyle Shanahan's going to go in there and try to take advantage of that. If for some reason Seattle decides that they're going to sit back and they're going to allow the 49ers run game to be successful, then he'll let them do that because Kyle will take what's there because ultimately Kyle wants to win, and that's what he's about. But if Seattle gives him the opportunity to prove everyone wrong and go out there and have a huge game with that quarterback and what he wants to do, he's going to do it.
Absolutely. He's definitely going to do it. I agree with you there. I think Jimmy Garoppolo is primed for a big game, especially against a weak secondary. The Seattle Seahawks, they can get it done. And especially if Seattle comes out and tries to muck it up. And Ant, all 22 film spoilers for you. If you want to find out what Seattle is going to be doing, I'll give you all a little bit of a spoiler right now. I watched a good chunk of that first half already of that Seattle-Minnesota game. Guess what we saw a lot of in that game, Ant? 6-man fronts walking a certain defensive end down from the safety position, showing 6 and 2 in the box.
Yeah.
They went 6-2 heavy, a lot. And their secondary got torched. And Kirk Cousins missed a lot of wide open receivers early in that game. That game was already a pretty bad end for the Seattle Seahawks. If Kirk Cousins finds the guys he's supposed to find early in that game, Ant, it's even worse for Seattle. That secondary's got some real big holes.
Well, that secondary is all about, the defensive line has to deter you. And that's really what it comes down to. And if they can't put pressure using Jamal Adams as that defensive end help off the edge, then they're going to be in a world of hurt because the 49ers are going to have opportunities to go down the field. And it is a little bit different than Green Bay. It's going to be a different game plan, but Kyle Shanahan's going to be more ready for that game plan as well. And if Seattle put it on film, then you have something to go off of. Anytime that it's on film, it's easier to prepare for it. And like I told you, I really believe Kyle Shanahan's going to come in. And he's going to be prepared for several different things, not just one thing. And he'll be ready to go because it's not going to be just what Norton normally does or what Pete normally does, but they're going to be ready for it.
I agree with you there. It's definitely going to be the case. And then on defense, for me, Fred Warner is that guy. And I believe you believe Fred Warner is probably that guy, too, that is going to have a big game this week, bounce back.
Oh, yeah, I think Fred's going to have a huge game. And I think that if Norman's playing, Norman's going to show out as well.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed. I think he'd have a huge game this week. JLA asked a little bit earlier, what would you give up for Marlon Mack? Would he excel in Kyle's system? What does he add to the running back room?
Yes, if I was going to be able to get Mack it would, because it's a 1-year deal. You're only getting him as a rental, so you're not going to want to give up a whole lot. So this needs to be a late round pick, something 6th or 7th round, or even something next year that is a 7th round with an accelerator or something like that. You don't want to give up too much. It all comes down to what you feel this guy can add to your football team, and he can add a lot because this is a guy that's proven that he can rush for 1,000 yards in this league. And another time came really close to getting 1,000 yards. He's a dynamic runner who would fit in Kyle Shanahan's system. I mean, there's no question that this guy could run the outside zone and inside zone very well, and he can do all the things that you want him to do. And he can catch the ball in the backfield. So, I mean, he's a tremendous add if the 49ers could add him. The question is, what is Indy going to want? Now, we do know that they're definitely wanting to move him. They're both exercising their option to work on a trade, and they're both looking for good situations. The question is, will the 49ers be willing to pull the trigger on that? Because it seems like right now the 49ers just want a Band-Aid. They just want a couple of guys to get in here and get them until they get JaMychal Hasty back, until they get Jeff Wilson back, which would both be after the bye week. And if they get them both back, then you don't really have a need at the running back position. They're dressing 3 running backs in Trenton Cannon. I mean, that's basically how they're operating right now. So if you had Elijah Mitchell, you would have Trey Sermon. You would actually have 4 guys plus Trenton Cannon. So you have a logjam at running back again. So I don't know if they're willing to make that move right now. I think if they lost Elijah Mitchell, they would be more willing to call and see what could happen. Or if Jeff Wilson had a setback, wasn't going to be able to come back until maybe like November or something like that, you would be interested in Mac. But right now, I think they've pushed the pause button and they're waiting. And the longer they wait, the better it is for them because, Mac's value, because he's on a 1-year deal, decreases by every single day and every single week.
Yeah, that's accurate. That's very, very true, Ant, and that's going to have a big impact on what happens to it. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. I don't want to go out there and put out there anything like that. I'm not 100% sure. But, yeah, it's not wrong, my guy. It's not wrong. Someone had asked about Tyler Lockett, and I wanted to get to this because this has an impact on the 49ers and preparation-wise what they can do. And I do have an update. On that and what happened. So, he had limited practice on Wednesday. We talked about in the daily this morning. And he was a DNP in practice today. Mm-hmm. So he took a step backwards. Now, that could just be a rest thing because it's a hip injury and he's dealing with some stuff, or it could be signs of something else. What are you thinking? What are you feeling? Because for me, I don't want to jump the gun on anything yet and be like, oh, that means he's not playing. If he's not practicing tomorrow, if it's a DNP tomorrow, I would say he's obviously trending the wrong direction.
Yeah, I don't really think of anything about it because I would have to prepare for this guy to be playing. He's too dynamic to not prepare for, and this could be a little bit of chess, right? So if Seattle knew already that Lockett wasn't going to play, there's no reward for them showing the 49ers that he's not going to play. So DNPing him 2 days, you can report that he's out there with limited practice, and all he could have been doing was doing some stretches or doing some rehab work. So right now, I don't think there's anything that the 49ers should change. Prepare for Tyler Lockett. Be prepared for him and DK Metcalf, and then go out there and try to beat him. But, I mean, it would be big for the 49ers overall if they don't have to prepare for Lockett, because then you can put a lot of focus on DK Metcalf, and you can make sure you take him out of the game. And if you do, you're forcing a lot of guys who don't have a lot of experience in this league to beat you. So I think it would be huge for the 49ers, but I wouldn't plan on it because it seems like every year that you think the 49ers are going to have some sort of an advantage like that, the Seahawks show up, Lockett will be listed as doubtful, and then he plays and goes off for a huge game. So I wouldn't read too much into it.
Agreed. I don't want to read too much into it either. Ben Belly, our rookie quarterback, Lance, got all our momentum touchdowns. It's funny because Brandon Ayuk had a big drop that would have been a big Jimmy Garoppolo momentum touchdown. But, okay. Well, everyone's allowed to feel their way.
Well, no, he had that was a huge momentum push, getting it 100%, but not all the momentum touchdowns because he didn't have any more touchdowns after that. There was 3 other ones. So, did Trey Lance do his job and what he's supposed to do? Absolutely. Kyle Shanahan called the right play at the right time. It was great.
And you know what else, too, Ant? He did a great job of selling on that fullback sneak. He did a great job of selling. He sold like he was checking, like he was going to run into something else. He drew backside linebackers' attention, safety's attention. D-line kind of looked around a little bit as the ball gets snapped and they're able to go. He did a great job there also.
Yeah, there's a couple of things in that drive. Number one, the momentum was started by Trenton Cannon.
Absolutely.
With a great return, what a great call by Hightower and great blocking by that special teams. And then second of all, there's the rollout pass where Jimmy Garoppolo rolls outside the pocket. Now, there ends up being a penalty inside on Brunskill and on the defensive lineman where it negates the play. But Jimmy Garoppolo throws a ball that Deebo Samuel should catch for a touchdown. He doesn't catch it. And then 2 plays later, he throws a pass that should be caught by Brandon Ayuk for a touchdown. And it's not caught. So yes, it was a nice play, but the momentum was shifting in the 49ers direction once the kickoff happened. So it's nice to see Trey finish. It's amazing because I can like Jimmy Garoppolo and Trey Lance at the same time and think that both of them executed the plays that they needed to operate at that time. And Jimmy played well on that drive. Before that, Jimmy struggled 100%. There were opportunities that he had, and he wasn't able to take advantage of them. But in that certain situation, he played well and helped the 49ers get into the goal line area where they were able to score.
Yes, Ant, that's very accurate indeed. BV50 had asked a little bit earlier, how good is Buster Skrine? Do you think we will see him? I think he right now is more of a safety measure, like a precautionary in case something else happens or someone else goes down or you're not comfortable with Drake or Patrick or Josh Norman's not ready to go and, DJ can't get it done and Deommodore Lenoir struggling. He's like a safety valve. I don't think the 49ers want to sign him and put him in right away. This isn't the same caliber of guy as a Josh Norman. That's not, it's not what this is.
He's a different type of player.
Correct.
Even though Kyle Shanahan talked about his flexibility of playing inside and outside, 100% they count on this guy playing inside. They've shown from previous weeks that they want these corners to be in the system for at least 2 weeks before they come in and play in football games. I think they would actually like to have a little bit more time with Norman before they had to thrust him out there against Philly. Luckily, because he's such a vet and a vet that has played at such a high level, you're able to get him out there early on. But I think if they could have it their way, they could have Skrine out there in case of an emergency. But really, they're not planning on playing this guy until maybe the Colts, possibly. I think that is kind of what you're looking at. But you do know you need a lot of corners when you play Arizona. So being prepared for that is something they had to do. And we'll see what happens. But, I mean, they're just insulating themselves. So there's way too many injuries in the secondary right now.
There's a lot. There's a butt ton. And, yeah, it's definitely one of those things right now where you're insulating yourself, and we'll see what happens and what decision and what route they need to go. But if Josh Norman can go, I feel good. I feel real good.
Yeah, if you've watched the film of Josh Norman playing in that game, Josh Norman is complete control. It gives you an eerily similar feeling to what you saw from Richard Sherman in 2019, where it seemed like Richard knew where everything was happening, where everybody was going with the football, especially early in that season. That's how Josh Norman did. But one thing I'll say is I didn't see Josh Norman get beat on any of the deep passes. There was the one opportunity, but that's the one he comes out on afterwards, where Scantling beat him deep, and then the next play he's out, and then that's when they say he's coughing up blood. So, yeah. But other than that, he was in complete control of what his responsibilities were and complete control of where everyone else on the defense was supposed to be. You've seen him and Fred talking. You've seen him and Deommodore Lenoir talking. He's letting people know when people are going in motion, when they're going to be sitting still and for screen passes. He's very well, equipped to handle his position. So, yeah, I definitely want Josh Norman out there if he's healthy.
Agreed. Definitely want him out there 100%. JLE asked, will our D contain Russ Wilson? What do you want to see specifically? And then Gary, a little bit after that, said, Ebubon does a good job of containing Wilson. Watch last year's film with him at the Rams. He did a couple of times really good job of getting in and pressuring Russell Wilson, especially blitzes off the edge and things of that nature, and even stretching at sideline a couple times when Russ tries to get out there. That was actually in our film breakdown of Samson Ebukam when we made the signing. So if you missed that, go check that out. Gary's right. You can see a little bit of that film there, Ant. Look, I think the big thing is what you might see a little bit of, and what do we just have a subscriber?
There's a new member.
Ooh, a new channel member.
It's
Jason. Jason just upped his channel membership. Jason Hill.
It said James Vega as well.
Oh, they both probably just upped their channel memberships.
Okay.
Is probably what it is. So appreciate that, you guys. Thank you for staying on as channel members. Look, they're all hitting.
They're all hitting right now. So
right at the same time. That's clean. That's awesome.
The one thing I'll say about Ebukam is something that could be interesting right now that we could find out from him is in this game, the way that they did against the Packers, where they had a defensive lineman fall off. You wonder if they do the same thing with Ebukam and Ford and Bosa occasionally, and spy Russ with those guys. Ebukam's a guy, right, that you could possibly spy Russ with because of his great speed. So it'll be something to watch in the game plan overall and see how DeMeco Ryans handles it. But this pass rush needs to get up the field and get after Russ while staying in their keeping their rush lane integrity. You don't want to let this guy have little windows where he can get through. But that is what's nice about having Kinlaw and those guys where they can completely collapse the middle. So that's what we need 100%.
Absolutely. Definitely going to be important. And look, he wanted to know a little bit more, maybe want us to go, I guess, in depth, and also just became a channel member.
Yeah,
so JLE.
Awesome, JLE.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, my guy, for becoming a member of the Cutback crew here on YouTube.
So he's wanting more in depth how?
I think he wants to just know more in depth of what maybe
the matchups
and what you can do and how to maybe go about attacking it. We talked about this in the past, slow rushing, not maybe, getting the guys upfield as much. The problem with that is you allow Russ opportunities to break contain, find those seams.
And DK to get down the field.
Correct. That could be a problem. So I don't think that's the way they're going to do it.
No.
I think it's interior blitzing up the middle. And we've talked about this a little bit, but definitely stunts up the middle, interior blitzing up the middle, bring extra guys, or even sending things like Nick Bosa on inside moves or Dee Ford on inside moves and bringing an outside blitz off of that to hold that contain on the outside and make Rush step into that rush. That's going to be the key thing. Don't let him break contain. Don't let him get outside. Don't let him roll. Don't let him cook, because he thrives. He thrives when he's able to do those types of things. So if you can make him stay in the pocket, step up into the pocket, and bring that pressure either up the middle or stunting up the middle and maneuvers up the middle to confuse that front there for the Seattle Seahawks, who are dealing with some injuries as well. Shell has been dealing with some stuff. He's been dealing with ankle stuff. He's been out pretty much this whole week. So again, we could be facing an offensive line with some weaknesses. 49ers got to capitalize.
There's a catch-22 with Russell Wilson, because Russell Wilson absolutely destroys the blitz. He will find the open receiver. However, if you blitz, you can keep your rush integrity so much better. Because by bringing 5 guys, you can keep them in lanes where Russ doesn't have an opportunity to run. Because you want to keep those 2 guys on the outside, yet you don't want to leave those creases if those 2 outside guys rush too far upfield. Once they get upfield, it leaves that crease between the defensive tackle and the defensive end that's coming up the field. Those windows where he's able to slip through are terrible for the 49ers.
Correct.
So you have to be able to keep that down. So rush integrity is important. So either bringing in an extra guy off the edge, like you talked about, at least you do this with K1 Williams all the time. You bring a guy off the edge, then you can collapse Armstead inside or Dee Ford inside, more an inside route, and then you can keep DJ Jones or Kinlaw or whoever your defensive lineman is on the inside that way, where it's coming from Russ's front side. That will make him look the other way. At the same time, those other 2 guys have to keep responsibility. But by doing that, you're going to keep this guy in the pocket so much that he has to look at the rush. That's what you want. He is a shorter guy, so he has to look over. The problem is if you bring the extra guy and you don't take care of business on the back end, he's going to kill you. He's going to get rid of the ball to a playmaker's hand where they can make a play. So I think there's going to be opportunities. It's all about confusing him. That's why in the preview show, my key matchup is actually D'Amico Ryans against Russell Wilson, because Russ has to be confused. You have to, kind of take some of the danger out of it. Push some caution tape up, with that defensive line, and use different philosophies and different ways to confuse him so he never knows what's coming. If he gets a beat on what you're doing and what you're trying to do to him, he's going to be able to exploit it. So I look for them to bring blitzes at times and take advantage of them, but we'll see.
Absolutely. We appreciate that. Megan there with a nice one. Her membership is up as well. Thanks, guys, for being the best Niners pod. Appreciate that.
Thank you.
Maybe a little biased, but hey, it is what it is.
100% biased.
Jag asked, hey, TCC family, if Elijah Mitchell can't play against Seattle, who will be running backs 2 and 3? Also wants to know what grade we would give Alex Mack from week 3. It's not going to be his best grade of the season, I can tell you that.
100% Alex Mack struggled in that game. He looked at times out of position with his feet. Footwork was not all there. He looked top heavy. That probably is why the 49ers gave him a day off this week. He needed it. I think that maybe, him getting back into football shape is not all the way there. There were times in Philadelphia where he looked like he had overran things and he was a little off balance. He needs to get more bend in his hips. He needs to get down a little bit more. And when he does, I think he'll be fine. But yeah, Alex Mack it needs to improve. He did not have a good game against Green Bay. That is 100% accurate. But I still have a lot of faith in Alex Mack because he's so smart, he will figure it out.
Despite that, he still wasn't the worst thing I've ever seen.
100%. It's still not even bad as we had last year.
Not
from our center
close,
position.
Dude.
It was amplified because the game plan coming in was that they felt they could win one-on-one matchups with Green Bay's defensive line.
And they didn't.
And they weren't able to do that. So now they can reassess where they're at as an offensive line and realize, we're going to have to do a lot more help. We're going to have to do a lot more doubles. We're going to have to, work on these combo blocks. And once they do, they'll fix it. But, the only thing we got going for us is Alex Mack is super smart.
Very smart indeed. Aunt Megan with the $4.99 super chat. Like the video, TCC. I like the message, and I appreciate the $4.99 super chat. And then, yes, that is a big thing. I would say it's about average. It's an average game for Alex Mack. It's a C, and he hadn't been playing at a C level. The great news is that Alex Mack's average game is still better than Hronis Grasu's average game, which was just not great for the 49ers.
Or Hronis Grasu's best game.
Also true.
And what was it about Elijah Mitchell?
He wants to know if Elijah Mitchell can't play against Seattle, who's running backs 2 and 3?
I think it's Trey Sermon's going to be the guy. I mean, I really do. I think Trey Sermon's the guy, and if Elijah Mitchell can't play, and then I think this is when we see Jaquez Patrick.
Okay.
This is when we see him. We saw Seattle struggle a little bit on the inside run against Henry. So now you have an opportunity to put a big running back in there, a big bruiser that can get you some yards. And if you have to win up the middle, that's the kind of guy you want. He can finish around the goal line. So I think you would see a shift in game plan. But also, who was the guy that they signed that they put on the practice squad? Not Kerryon Johnson, but the other guy.
Chris Thompson.
Chris Thompson might be a guy that could see some run because he would make sense in Kyle Shanahan's system. He's familiar with him from Washington. They understand him very well. But he catches the ball in the backfield, so he can add that extra element that you're missing without having Elijah Mitchell because Trey Sermon can't catch the football. As of right now, he has stone hands. He needs to develop that part of his game. So I think that would make sense. I think this is actually a week you won't see Kerryon Johnson. Even though, he was, a guy available last week. I think this week it would be Jaquez Patrick and then Chris Thompson.
Okay, that's cool. I could see that. I could definitely see that. I don't know if they're looking at the Trenton Cannon speed and maybe thinking there's a way we can get this guy in there and do some
he's
stuff.
A special teams guy.
That's kind of where I'm at as well. I just don't know if there's anything there that you can utilize in the offense. But who knows? Maybe.
I wouldn't hate it. I would love to see him running sweeps. But I don't think that there is any way he's running in the middle of the field.
No, that's the only way he's coming in, I think, is if you're getting him out on the edge. Yeah. And then that becomes very obvious that what you're going to be trying to do, and it becomes very predictable, and the defense can shift and adjust based on what they're seeing.
Yeah.
Bob talked about Aaron Rodgers available next season. We should try to look at that. I agree that we should look at it.
Yeah, we've had some people bring that up about Rodgers and Devontae Adams.
Is there a way that you can bring it in without it breaking the bank? If that's possible, we all know you can trade or cut Jimmy, right? And free up the money. So that gives you the additional on top of the cap room going up. The problem is how much money is it going to cost? How much money is Aaron Rodgers going to take? Is he willing to take a pay cut? Is he willing to take less? Does anyone honestly believe that is the reality of the situation?
Well, we don't know.
And is Devontae Adams going to take a pay cut?
Well, there's one thing we got going for us with Devontae Adams and Aaron Rodgers. They're local guys, and
they want to play with it. They want to finish out together.
That's the one thing we got going for us. The drawbacks is we're in California, and in California, taxes are a real thing.
Yeah.
So it takes more to for somebody to play here than to play anywhere else. That's number one. Now the question is, does Aaron want to do what Tom Brady wasn't able to do? Tom Brady wanted to finish with the 49ers. Does Aaron look at this situation and say, you know what, I want to finish with the 49ers, and I know to win Super Bowls and to cement my legacy as one of the greatest of all time, to be up there with somebody like Tom Brady, I need to win more Super Bowls. I haven't been able to do that in Green Bay. I think Kyle Shanahan and the 49ers could do that. If he says that and he's willing to take an average 49ers or an average quarterback salary, in the $20 million range.
Hey, bro, if he takes $20 million a year.
The question is, what do you do with Trey Lance?
You just stash. You
stash him?
Stash and learn. Stash and learn, kid. Listen, I know we gave up all the draft capital, right? I know we did all of those things. You learned from Jimmy.
Craziness.
So you learned from Jimmy the intermediate throws of the game, diagnosing, understanding the playbook and the calls and all that. Now you can learn from Aaron Rodgers the next 2 to 3 years.
But then you have to sign Trey Lance to a huge contract, and he's never played a single football game once Aaron Rodgers is gone. That's what I'm saying.
It's rough. It's rough.
You run it. You become the Patriots situation, right, where they have Tom Brady, and they have to decide something on Jimmy Garoppolo. So they ultimately trade Jimmy Garoppolo. That's where the 49ers would end up if they signed Aaron Rodgers. But
if you bring in Aaron Rodgers and you win 2 Super Bowls, or you win 1 Super Bowl.
No, I agree. I'm not arguing the effect that Aaron Rodgers would have on the football team. I'm just saying that I don't think it's completely out of the ordinary because I believe that Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch are such competitors. They'll do what they need to do to win. And you've seen what John Elway did with the Broncos, where it was like, you know what, Peyton Manning, yes, we need you. Come on in. I'm not saying this wouldn't happen, but I do think Kyle is comfortable with eventually Trey Lance taking over the reins and running this football team.
Correct. David, there is one difference between Rodgers waiting 3 years and Trey Lance waiting 3 years. And that's Rodgers fell to 17. He fell
to 22
or whatever.
Yeah,
22. The Packers didn't give up anything. They were sitting there at 22 and being like, oh, the second player, one of the top 2 players in the draft is available here at 22? Okay, that's fine. And took him. The 49ers moved. They moved years of draft capital in order to go up. Can you afford to sit for even longer. We're all thinking 1 year, and then it's Trey's job in 2022. Can you really afford to wait until 2024 to make a move to Trey Lance?
Well, you might also think that this way. This was a big conversation with LaFleur this week. A lot of the stuff around Shanahan was the 49ers, Kyle Shanahan did reach out, and they had the number 3 overall pick. So the 49ers were willing to basically add Aaron Rodgers and move on from that number 3 pick, which ultimately became Trey Lance. So I think you do got to consider that the 49ers would be interested in adding Aaron Rodgers to their football team. It just at what cost? I don't know if the money works, but that's going to be an interesting conversation in the offseason.
Agreed. Seth with the glorious comment here. Peyton Manning over Tebow. Tough choice. Super tough, my guy.
Yeah.
Super tough.
I mean, one guy had just won a playoff game, and the other one had just been injured for a year, so it was a tough choice, right?
Still wasn't a tough choice, man. Listen, I love Tim Tebow. Everyone knows I'm a big Tim Tebow fan. Right decision.
Oh, 100%.
It's the right decision. Yeah. You can go get Peyton Manning and solidify your quarterback play immediately, and you don't have questions. You can get rid of the unfair circus that follows Tim Tebow around. It's just better for your locker room overall.
Yeah, so I think when it comes to this question, it's not a bad question. It's not a bad argument, a bad thought. It all comes down to money.
It's logistics, man.
It's money, logistics. And let's see what happens. But that's going to be for the offseason. Now, we have a long ways to get there.
Let's focus on right now. Let's focus on right now. And Monica's, I'm chill on Rodgers. We ain't doing that to Trey. Monica, it's a business. You're going to make the best decision for business in the franchise. And if the best decision is paying Aaron Rodgers $18.5 million a year for 2 to 3 seasons.
If you're getting him for $18.5 million, you're signing him every single day and twice on Tuesday.
100%. But that's what I mean. If you can get him $20 million or less for 2 to 3 seasons. Way.
I'm thinking $30 million or less, and you're like, okay.
Bro, are you telling me that Aaron Rodgers wouldn't come in and be like, I'll take $18.5 million and we can just do massive incentives and you just pay me down the road?
Oh, 100%, because you have Marath, right? 100%. So Parag can be like, oh, yeah, we're going to give you $25 million right now.
We'll stretch this out over 5 years.
And then in 3 years, your contract's worth over 40. 100%, they could do that.
I could see it. And listen, if it makes sense and the money's right, then they'll do it. But let's cross that bridge when we get there.
Yeah, I mean,
faithful cutback girl. Let's cross that bridge.
49ers give, they are in Silicon Valley, so some more commercials for Aaron Rodgers, something like that to change the money up, maybe.
Him and Steph Curry. They can get Steph Curry now in State Farm, and him and Steph Curry can do some sort of a State Farm thing. You got the Patrick Price, right? You got the Rodgers rate. You got State Farm.
I like the Subway commercials with Curry.
Subway commercials with Curry are pretty funny. And if they're really curious, State Farm, if you're really curious, you have to head over to Patreon. You have to go behind the paywall in order to find out what the Steph Curry thing actually would be, so you can. Because I totally didn't come up with anything and was just saying things and spouting things.
Okay,
who would do something like that? Seattle and all of our opponents are going to stop the run and force Jimmy to pass. How should Shanahan adjust? Thoughts? The first thing is exactly what you said in the preview show, Ant, which is vertical. Vertical has to happen. So we're going to find out real quick. Why have there been? It's not that they're not shots downfield. There's not a lot of play calls for shots downfield.
Yeah.
There aren't a lot of deep routes. And I was talking with with someone in the Facebook group about this. In one of the Facebook groups, they were asking, Jimmy doesn't even throw fades. All of these elite quarterbacks throw fades. I was like, hey, man, take a look at what the 49ers are facing. They very rarely are facing just matchup man on the outside. It's a lot of cover threes. It's a lot of 2 high safeties. It's just literal fade shots on the 49ers aren't there. Teams aren't running man because if you're running man, you can't get your secondary involved in stopping the run.
100%.
They're running zone.
Yeah.
So when you're running zone and you got people sitting over the top, deep shots down the sideline usually aren't there unless a corner misplays it. If a corner misplays it, it's there. But unless a corner misplays it, he's running cover 3. He's already bailing out anyway.
Yeah, I mean, the big shots from the 49ers over the past few years in Kyle Shanahan's tenure have all come from the play-action pass, establishing the run and then being able to do that. So if they're going to load the box and not allow you to run, there's always another way to run the football. Okay, bringing guys into the box doesn't mean the run game stops, because you can bring them up, and whether that is a vertical run game, because if they go horizontally with the defensive guys on the line, you can run vertically, and then once you get past the first level, you have a big play. That's when you have Raheem Mostert getting huge plays. So there's always an avenue to run. It doesn't matter if they put 11 guys in the box.
Correct.
You can still run the football if you execute it right, but you have to have the right scheme with the right blocking angles. And you just had things that Kyle wasn't ready for, right? He wasn't able to scheme it up. Now he will be able to. He knows how these teams are handling him. Think about it. The first 2 weeks, they came out in this 52 look, and he went to the sweeps. And he got outside of that edge guy, and then they were able to make runs and have a lot of success.
And then
this week, the Packers adjusted and brought a 6 guy. So they were completely horizontal. He wants to be able to go vertical. His offensive line wasn't able to execute those plays. The offensive line was getting moved off their spots a little bit, not able to secure those balls, to secure those blocks. They got their hips around, which is good technique. They're just not able to anchor on those. So he's got to figure it out, whether that is scheming it up. Now, what I would do if I was him, and this is only me, what I would do if I was him was I would go to more counter plays, right? Faking it one way, you got everyone flying out, come back underneath, use George Kittle and Kyle Juszczyk to wham block. Let defensive linemen come upfield and wham them. That'll create the lane. That'll afford you the opportunity for your offensive linemen to get to the second level. If they do that, I believe they can create creases and running lanes for these running backs inside, no matter how many guys are in the box. But you're right. If they're going to stretch horizontal, you have to be able to attack vertically in the pass game. Kyle Shanahan was doing 2 things in this game, either no vertical passes or everyone was running a vertical. It's time to go levels. It's time to get 3 levels where you make these safeties make a choice and you see an opportunity where you either take the underneath intermediate route or you hit the vertical down the field behind the safety. Both of them are going to be available at some point. Kyle's just got to adjust, but we have to give him time to adjust because he saw something he wasn't used to.
Correct. And this is the big thing. You saw the Packers safeties, the way that they were playing, really honing in on those crossers, middle crossers, digs, things of that nature. Posts in the middle of the field, any sort of in-breaking route sitting in the middle, their safeties were all over them. Deep hitches sitting in the zone, slants sitting behind second level. They were committing. So levels is right. Bringing a guy from one side of the field across and then sending someone deep opposite of that to try and take advantage of that. You know, you can get an outside vert, get an inside post with a backside dig. Make the safety come up and play in space, my guy. Which one are you taking? You're gonna make us beat you over the top, or you're gonna let us take the underneath stuff? Because if you let us take the underneath stuff, you already know we can beat you with that. We beat 2 teams that way already.
Yeah.
So you're going to take that away? Okay. Jimmy, it's on you now to make the play on the outside.
And I'm curious when they go to some sort of the flood, right? A little bit of levels on one side of the field, move Jimmy or even Trey outside the pocket and allow them to, a lot like the sprint right option, right? You get out there and you have levels. You have a short and intermediate and a deep route, but you stress those guys in space. The question is, can Jimmy Garoppolo throw well enough on the run? We know Trey Lance can. So that might be something that they need to do because Jimmy had a nice throw to Deebo Samuel on a rollout pass like that in the game. It just wasn't, caught. So they can adjust. I think there are opportunities for them, but once again, sometimes when you see it, you can't adjust on the fly well enough. And then again, at the same time, here I am talking about they didn't adjust enough on the fly, and they scored 28 points in 32 minutes. So that's pretty darn good.
Absolutely. Jag, great question. I'm sorry if you already talked about this, but what about that guy corner from the Vikings, Dantzler? Are they doing anything with that? No. As of right now, no. They called it inquired. I think they wanted just to see what it was going to cost them. Price tag probably a little too high.
Well, that thing's getting ugly, too, because Dantzler's had the tweets that are going on. So you got the front office is not very happy with what he's saying, where he's saying he's going to speak his truth no matter what. So he's not getting the playing time. So let it play out. Let things happen and then, see if you can get this guy for a cheaper.
Or if they're just going to straight up release him and cut him.
Yeah, because I don't think right now the 49ers are looking to make any trades. They're not ready to give up any trade picks right now. I mean, really, they're not.
No, I wouldn't be giving up picks. There's just no point to it.
No.
Matt Burgos, how you doing, good sir?
What's up, Matt?
Yeah, but no, that's going to be the big thing. And Kyle Shanahan, how he adjusts. And look, there's a lot of good things the Niners can take from Minnesota's run game against the Seahawks because the Seahawks brought 6 guys down. And we're going to go really super deep on that film. So hop over to Patreon if you want to get a good look at that. And that's going to be coming out Saturday morning. You don't want to miss that. But it's not the Seahawks, but the Vikings did a really good job of occupying and accounting for. And one of the things that I saw were essentially inside tosses. And they run a toss look and get guys flowing, and then you had Madison coming downhill, finding the cutback lane and cutting back with a lead blocker coming through. It's essentially a counter, is what it looks like, but he never really gets full speed and full steam going downhill. Kyle Shanahan created enough to find ways to execute or implement something similar to that. I won't be shocked also if we see a little bit of, situations where, especially if Trey Sermon is the main back because Elijah Mitchell's not good to go, where you get Juice checking some staggered sets and you get fake toss looks and inside counters coming back to Juice running inside.
Yeah, definitely. That would be something that would work. You got these guys that are flying out very fast, and they're trying to get down the field, up the field to cut these plays off. So you've seen these linebackers creep across the line of scrimmage, and when you do that, it leaves yourself vulnerable to reverses, to counters, and other things going the opposite way, which the 49ers have had a lot of success with in the past. Last year, they talked about the fact they had to go away from it because so many teams were sitting on that. So now that they're not sitting on that and they're being more aggressive, you can take advantage of them.
Matt, you're not wrong. We did have a chance at Stafford if we had just found him at that stupid resort in Mexico before freaking that man. I can't stand McVay right now, man. I really can't. All the McVay Stafford memes are just really grinding my gears. Eyes. Bro, it's literally find yourself someone who looks at you the way Sean McVay looks at Matt Stafford.
Yeah.
It's funny. I just don't like it.
Yeah.
I don't like that McVay is this happy. I want someone to put him in his place. I'm going to be honest. I would love it if Arizona would stick it to him this weekend. I would absolutely love it. Just bring everybody down a notch. Let the Cardinals be the team that goes to that next level of we're the greatest, and let the Rams come back down to planet Earth just a little bit.
Well, we'll see. We'll see what happens there.
It's gonna be a good game.
Yeah,
it's definitely gonna be a good game. And look, there's a lot of things. And look, Bob, that's a bit much. We're donezo if we blow this. That's a bit much. You're going a little bit over the top there, my guy. Look, at the end of the day, right? The 49ers have made their moves. They've made their decisions. This is the roster we have right now. This is the group we're rolling with. We're rolling with Jimmy Garoppolo. We're rolling with Trey Lance behind him. And the Niners are going to need to adjust. The good news is that Kyle Shanahan, in years past, second half adjustments have been the problem. This year, the second half adjustments have been on point. What this offense and what this team has done in the second half of football games has been great, with the exception of late in the fourth quarter. That's about it, and that's late in the fourth quarter for the defense. And honestly, I'm just starting to think it's just young guys not executing properly. That's what it's feeling like.
Yeah, I think so. I think that when we watched the All-22 film, you saw that Deommodore Lenoir just wasn't playing coverage right. He was playing an inside technique on a play, in defensive coverage that he's supposed to be playing an outside technique and funneling his guy inside. All he literally has to do is get that guy to take an inside release to where his safety is, and he didn't do that. He even struck him with the wrong hand in the press. It's
not good.
It wasn't good. It was bad technique, and it's something that they have to live with. Which is a big reason why the 49ers chose to go with Josh Norman over Deommodore Lenoir to start that football game. So I think it did answer questions for a lot of people that thought Demo should be playing. Why are we playing Josh Norman? That's why. Because Norman knows what he's doing, and Demo's still learning. Demo's going to be a great player someday, but that's not right now. He's still learning, and he's still adjusting, and he's doing the best he can. But when he's out there, there are schematic problems for the 49ers, so they got to figure this out.
They definitely got to figure this out. They got to get this dialed in, indeed. And look, Jag, I love Juice, but why would Shanahan use him on dive plays is just a bit puzzling. Well, he's trying to do some, different things with that run game. I don't think that Shanahan I don't think that it's that he didn't trust Trey Sermon. I just don't think he wanted him to have to take a punishing.
It's also personnel groupings. How is the other team responding? Sometimes when Juice is out there, they put a different type of player out there because they're expecting it, they're looking at him more like a tight end than they are as an actual running back. So when you don't have Trey Sermon or any of these normal tailbacks out there, it adjusts the way that you're handling defense. So I think sometimes personnel groupings. In our All-22, we have the play down by the goal line where Juice gets the ball and he presses to the line of scrimmage. And if he's able to jump cut, if he's an athlete, if he's one of those tailbacks, he jump cuts into the hole and he gets inside the 2-3 yard line, maybe even a chance to score. But he's not that guy, so he runs right into the offensive lineman.
Not that guy, pal. He's not that
he eventually gets the yard, gets some yardage out of it. But yeah, there are opportunities for Juice, but where Juice is the most effective is blocking and catching the ball in the backfield.
Yeah, that's where he does his thing. And there was even an opportunity for him on a little wheel route. Kyle did do some scheme stuff later in that game to try and get Juice down the sideline. We've seen Juice do that kind of stuff down the sideline on wheel routes, and Green Bay was ready for it. You got to give credit to LaFleur. LaFleur came in with a good game plan. The defensive coordinator came in with a good game plan. And Kyle did a great job of adjusting, and D'Amico Ryans did a great job of putting guys in positions to have success. And I expect more of the same this week. I expect more of this from D'Amico Ryans. I expect Kyle Shanahan to come ready to go, because Seattle put it on film. They put this six-man front on film, and they went 6-2. Not 6-1, 6-2. 6-2 early in that game against the Minnesota Vikings. So you've seen it. You've seen what it could look like and what they could do. So now you can practice against it. You can try and get yourself ready. You can try and stay prepared. They're going to have their hands full for sure.
Yeah, I think right away, just off the thought process of what you just said, I would probably want to run a bunch set. And if I think they're going to be in 6-2 based on what personnel grouping I'm going to have in, I'm going to make that personnel grouping in there so they sit in that formation, because that gives you a lot of opportunities to run a sweep on the outside as long as you secure those blocks, which you can do because you have Mohamed Sanu and also Jawan Jennings. Those guys are very good blockers at receivers, but we saw that Debo and Brandon Ayuk can do it too. So there's going to be opportunities for the 49ers on the edge if Seattle decides to play it that way. So I'm curious what Kyle Shanahan's list looks like in his script, because those first 15 plays are going to be interesting how he does it. I'm guessing there's a filling out process in the first 3 where he's trying to figure it out, get a little bit of motion, change the formation a couple times, see if he can get going against the Seattle defense and see if they'll tip their hand on what they're going to do. And once they do, then he's going to go full bore after them. And he's going to get after it early and often.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a lot of fun when we get to break that down. It's going to be great over there on Patreon. Make sure you check that out. And we got the all 22 film up right now and a breakdown of both the first half and the second half, really in depth. We're not just talking like, we play things through once. We really dive into those things. So if you like watching game film, if you want to be able to see what the team's doing, gleam into some of the mistakes, have a better insight into what was called, where guys executed, where they didn't, head on over to Patreon. There's a lot of good stuff there. Other than just the film breakdowns, you have Cutback in Times. You can become an MVP or a GOAT tier member. And when you do that, when you become a GOAT tier member or an MVP tier member, you get access to fantasy football content as well as Madden gameplays and the Madden League, which is going to be starting here in the next few days. Caleb, get excited, my guy. Get excited. It's happening. We're going to be doing this thing. We're going to have a good time with that. So no, there's tons of great things, including Cutback in Times, which is going to go up later tonight.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of great stuff over there on Patreon, and there's tons of great stuff here. So if you're new here, you're just coming in for the first time, make sure you're subscribed and hit that notification bell. Subscription, it's going to let you know when videos are posted. If you miss it, you're not by your phone or whatever, you can always come back to our channel. You're going to have tons of content throughout the week and almost daily, multiple videos that come out. So lots of ways and lots of things for you to like. And then on top of that, and the best part, you hit that notification bell. You're going to be the first ones in. You're going to be the first ones in. You're going to know when everything goes live. And it's a lot of fun. It's good stuff.
Yeah, there's a lot of opportunities to get involved and join the conversation. Whether you're agreeing with what we're saying or disagreeing with what we're saying, that's okay. Just bring good points and bring correct energy, and it's all good. I really like hearing differing points of view, and because we can all sit down and watch a game. Even me and you, Alex, can sit down and watch a game and see some parts of it different. That's just the way it is.
Absolutely.
Everyone sees things differently, and it's okay to express those feelings and those perceptions. It's just make sure you do it the right way, and it's all good. I seen Jag had a question. He said, would you consider using an extra offensive lineman, either Moore or Banks, to try to get the run game going on some plays? The problem with that is then it really hinders you, because we've already seen when the 49ers go max protect, it hinders them down the field. So when you go to play action, you really don't have it. Now, Moore would be the guy to go with, because right now Banks hasn't proven that he can be successful blocking at all. His lateral movement's not there, but he's still developing. But Jalen Moore would be that guy. Maybe around the goal line I could see it. Maybe on a 4th and 1, that's a situation you would go with. But I think they feel more comfortable adding an extra tight end because Charlie Warner's been blocking at a very high level. So using him right now, I think, is the option they're going to go with.
I think that's the safe bet. I think that's definitely the thing that they're going to have to do there and the route they're going to take. But yeah, no, you're right there. It's definitely the case there indeed. Can't wait to 412. Caleb, I don't know what that means. You got me all confused, my guy. I'm assuming that's a Madden thing. I have no idea though.
I don't know.
I'm lost. I'm definitely lost, and now I don't know.
Oh, you can't wait. Can't wait to a 4-12 season, probably.
Oh, in Madden?
Yeah.
Why would you go 4-12? Or is he saying that about me? I could definitely go 4-12. I've done it before. It's not great. It's not great when that kind of stuff happens. But look, a Cutback crew. This was good. This was a lot of fun. Got a lot of good questions in. If you have any more, now is the time to throw them off. Throw them in here right now before we log this off for the day. You guys can get to Thursday Night Football. We can get to getting the rest of the videos ready and prepped for tomorrow. So you guys got tons of content. So a couple more questions.
He said his Madden record.
Oh, man. I hope that's not the case, my guy.
No.
I really hope that that's not the case.
Especially because I've been talking it up.
Absolutely. Bob Money, who would you take as the starter, Rodgers or Jimmy? Is that a question?
I don't know. Ask me next year.
It's a good answer, Ant.
Yeah.
It's a solid answer. We'll leave it
I don't have to answer it right now because I'm not going to get Aaron Rodgers this year.
Yeah, there's no point to even point to even look at it or
Yeah.
even consider it because it's just not going to happen. But look, other questions. Other questions. Maybe about this game. Maybe about the team. If you lose 2 more games, my prediction comes true. Bench Jimmy G and start Trey after the bye. Matt, Might be right.
Said ifs.
Ifs and buts. Ifs and buts.
49ers are going to win the next 2.
And that's what we're thinking. That's what we're thinking. What about the other Cutback channel?
Oh, he's probably talking about that.
High school?
Yeah.
What about it?
Yeah.
What about the high school Cutback? I don't know. Not doing anything.
We can
right
talk
now.
about it later.
Yeah, that's another day. Another day, another time. That's what it is. Come on, Cutback crew. You got to have a couple of questions. Couple more. We'll give you guys like another minute. But tomorrow, don't forget tomorrow's lineup. Lot of stuff. Or Kirk kissing Cousins. Oh gosh. Hey, Kirk had himself a day. In the last couple of weeks have been good for Kirk Cousins. He has shown out in a big way. And the O-line's actually playing up to par for the Vikings.
Playing good enough to win.
That's all you got to do.
Yeah.
That's all you got to do. But Kirk does have those moments in those games where it doesn't go the way you're hoping it's going to go for Kirk. But look, no, there's tons of good stuff tomorrow. So don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to join us tomorrow all day. Lots of stuff. We got everything that your heart could content. Madden simulation, and it's a fun one. Promise you that. It's a fun one. This isn't like last week's Madden simulation. It doesn't quite have the same sort of like, I can't believe this happened, Madden, you're going to be totally wrong, and then it ends up being sort of right. So make sure you tune in for that tomorrow morning. You have a wonderful daily video. You have an incredible episode with Jay in the Bay. What's good in week 4, his 5 big things. You don't want to miss that, as well as Know Your Opponent with Sam from the Always Compete Seahawks podcast.
Yeah, it's great. Friday's a huge lineup, and it's always exciting to get involved in all those episodes. And then Saturday, you get hit again with the preview of the Seattle game, where we get to get into the film over on Patreon. So that's all 22 film, and then the daily video there where we really get into the game plan and what the 49ers are going to try to do. So we really hone in on what Seattle is all about and try to figure out how the 49ers are going to attack it and how Seattle's planning to attack this 49ers offense.
Very true, Ant. Matt asked, can the Niner kicker kick 66 yards? No. Only one kicker can kick 66 yards. He's a legend, and that's fine. It is what it is. Jag asks, I know it's going to be rough, but I would feel good going into the bye with a 3-2 record. Who would be more beneficial to us? Who would be more beneficial to us down the line? I don't know if I understand, Jag. A little confused on the question.
I think he's saying, would it be?
Oh, would it be more beneficial to us down the line to be 3-2? I don't know if it'd be more, it's definitely gonna be more beneficial to be 4-1.
Yeah, because you need those 2 wins over the NFC West.
Those 2 wins are big.
Those will be big because you're trying to go 4-2 at least in the NFC West. So that's what you're trying to get.
Yeah. Monica, we'll see you later. JL, a starting quarterback if Norman isn't 100.
Oh, man. I think it'll be Deommodore Lenoir.
It's going to be, yeah.
I mean, I would like it to be Drake Kirkpatrick, to be honest with you, but I think it'll be Deommodore Lenoir.
Oh, man. DJ Chark just got carted off the field for Jacksonville. That is terrible.
That's no good.
And they already needed wide receiver help, and that's not good at all. But Laviska Shenault could pay dividends now in fantasy. Thanks, Laviscus. Take care of business now. DJ, get healthy. Hopefully it's not too serious. Billy D. Guy, how did you guys become Niners fans? Born and bred, fella.
Yeah.
Born and bred, day ones.
I was born into it, yeah.
No choices.
My grandfather, my dad, they're all 49er fans. Family, all 49er fans. So
my father.
Growing up, it was real easy for me. I mean, I grew up in the 80s, so 49ers were winning all the time too. So I was a Joe Montana fan, so it was like, oh, that's easy.
I was born with a signed Ronnie Lott poster and a helmet full of 49ers Hall of Famers, legendary players, Joe Montana. I mean, you basically name it. Any 49ers player from about the 1960s on. I got a helmet with all of their signatures on it. So there was no choices. There were no choices. It was just, this is what it is. And you know what? I'm very thankful and gracious for that. It's always been a good thing. Marv Jones could step up. Definitely could. Did you see the missed delay of gameplay before the 66-yard field goal? Yeah. It sucks.
Yeah.
It's the Lions getting Lions.
It is.
It literally is the Lions getting Lions.
100%.
Tell the Fords to pay Megatron. If they pay Megatron, the curse goes away and everything will be right in Detroit land. Maybe. It starts with your owner. Your owner's got to take care of Megatron. You take care of Megatron, a lot of your stuff goes away. That's what I'm feeling. And where's the horse? Horse is he's not doing great right now. He's kind of in the hospital. He's not feeling too great at the moment. So
he's not healthy.
So keep him
not feeling well.
Not feeling well at all. So make sure you keep him in your thoughts, keep him in your prayers, send him some positive energy. Right? Horse needs that positive energy. So make sure you send it his way. We're missing him, and hopefully we can get him back here in the next few weeks. But he's definitely got a little bit of recovery, and he's got to take care of himself right now, and that's what he's focused on, and that's what we're glad he's doing it. We're glad he's getting that taken care of.
100%. Hope he gets well soon.
Absolutely. So Cutback crew, this was fun. Always good talking to y'all. Great questions, great conversation. It's a lot of good ones. Have fun with a Thursday night game. We'll see you all tomorrow morning for the Madden simulation. And until then, stay safe.
Remember, the right way
is always the 49ers way.